Hello, I'm Rob Pires.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Dave McLaughlin.
Andy Copeland from the Glemnet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're watching
Pitch Talk.
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
In terms of recent news with Rob Jones, Steve McManaman and Robbie Fowler coming in to help the youths, and John Barnes saying that he's interested in doing that. I'd personally bring in Barnes soon as, and with Dalglish coming back as a director. Yeah. With Jones, McManaman, Fowler, do you think that it's important for formerly great players to give back to the club? Not even necessarily give back to the club that made them, because that's a bit condescending. But do you think how important do you think a role that former great players can have, especially with your work with Motiv8 as well, and obviously you're looking at helping the next generation. How important do you think it is that players like McManaman, Jones and Fowler have gone back to assist in the coaching in their respective positions recently?
I think it's the rebuilding of the boot room. I think every club should have a boot room, quote unquote. I would point to clubs like Ajax as a great example of that, where you've got players like Brian Roy or Bergkamp, or you've got Koeman, who's obviously gone all the way to now become in charge of the club. Overmars has been doing stuff over there as well. To me, it's a way to defeat this jobs for the boys problem that you've got in the system right now, where you have coaches who will end their career and then be offered fast tracking into management. There are some that it will work for them, but I don't fundamentally understand how footballers who are coming through can be then expected to understand what happens, because there is a massive issue with players when they retire. What do? I think to have a natural link back to, it doesn't have to be their club. We're talking about Liverpool, but I don't see why you couldn't have a Steve McManaman or a Rob Jones or a Phil Babb or whoever it is going to a different club, you know?
I don't know if anyone would want Phil Babb. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I get you.
Could talk about Jimmy Traore.
Yeah. Oh my God. Cruyff turned it into his own net against Burnley.
Well, he did his 45 minutes in the Champions League final, so he got my handshake mentally one. Yeah. But anyway, I would say yes. A quick answer, yes, because I think it allows two things. Number one, it allows a former player to then be grafted through the system if they decide to. I know Robbie Fowler, for example, is very keen on doing I think he already has done quite a few coaching badges, or is about to. Don't quote me on that. And I mean, you have Ian Wright, for example, who's been doing it with the MK Dons and has been working hard. You have plenty of other players who are doing it. I think certainly for Liverpool, on that angle, it makes a lot of sense, because there has been less of an abundance of what Liverpool were famed for, which was bringing through players from the academy out. Now we're seeing players coming through, like you've got Andre Wisdom, Martin Kelly, Robinson, etc., and you've got some other, Adam Morgan, and a few others. That's great, but then maybe you do need that conduit, that individual who they will sit with them and say, these are the pathways, these are the pitfalls, this is what went wrong for me, this is what we want to see from you. And you know what, it's great to see an ex-pro just being around the training ground, being matched, because it's like seeing an old boy coming back to school and seeing them as wearing a suit and they've changed. They're a bit older, they're a bit wiser, but they've been there and done that. And for someone like myself who's working in the industry, and I constantly bang on being the operative two words, about the need for role models and to get our footballers off the front pages and back to where they belong on the back pages. Stories like this are much more important and much more critical to changing not just the game in this country, but worldwide. Because obviously people look at the Premier League, whatever are the rights and wrongs of English football, the Premier League is a product. And there's a lot of wrongs. Unfortunately, there seem to be more negatives these days. But having those role models there, for whatever reason. They don't have to be coaches. They could be just having ambassadors at the club who are able to give workshops and time about what it's like to be somebody who's left the game, what it was like when I entered the game, how it's changed, money management. For those, Robbie Fowler, for example, is a great example of someone who's done well for himself. Steve McManaman is someone who's done well for himself. They don't need to be in the game. But we don't hear enough from people like that. So yes, I'd say it's a fantastic yes, and long may it continue across the board. Across the board.
No, I agree with you. No, I agree with you on that.